4,000 years ago, someone carved this story into clay. It is the oldest story humanity has ever told.
The gods created a second man just as powerful as him, to stop a king who had become too dangerous. These two men would become closer than brothers, and that friendship would eventually break a king's heart forever.
His grief sent him on a journey no mortal had ever survived, to find the one man who cheated death itself. Gilgamesh ruled the great city of Uruk, 2/3 god, 1/3 man, and utterly without mercy.
He oppressed his people mercilessly, taking whatever he wanted from anyone in his kingdom, at any time. The people of Uruk cried out to the gods for help. The gods listened and decided to act.
The gods commanded the goddess Aruru to create a man equal to Gilgamesh, someone who could finally challenge him.
Enkidu was born fully grown in the wilderness. He was raised by wild animals, knowing nothing of human civilization.
I saw a giant, a wild man in the hills. He roams with beasts and eats grass like a gazelle. I am terrified.
Gilgamesh sent a priestess named Shamhat to civilize the wild man and bring him into human society. After spending time with her, Enkidu changed forever. The animals no longer recognized him as one of their own.
But Shamhat taught him something new: human wisdom, human speech, and human ambition.
Enkidu heard of Gilgamesh's cruelty toward his people and marched directly into Uruk to confront him.
The two most powerful beings on Earth finally stood face to face. Neither one had ever met his equal before.
They wrestled fiercely, shaking the very walls of the city. Neither man could gain a lasting advantage.
Exhausted, they finally stopped fighting and, in that single moment, became the closest of friends instead.
Enkidu's presence changed Gilgamesh completely. For the first time, the king had someone who understood him. With his newfound friend, Gilgamesh's restless ambition needed a new outlet. He wanted eternal glory. He proposed the most dangerous quest imaginable, traveling to the sacred cedar forest to kill its guardian.
Enkidu warned him. Humbaba was placed there by the gods themselves. No mortal had ever defeated him. Gilgamesh refused to be afraid. Together, the two friends set out toward the cedar forest anyway. After a long journey, they finally reached the edge of the ancient, sacred cedar forest of the gods. Humbaba, the monstrous guardian, sensed intruders in his sacred forest immediately and rose in fury. Gilgamesh and Enkidu stood together, facing the massive guardian, their weapons raised in fierce determination. The god Shamash sent powerful winds to aid them, pinning the monstrous guardian in place at the crucial moment. Humbaba, finally weakened, begged for mercy. Gilgamesh hesitated, but Enkidu urged him to finish it.
They defeated the guardian and cut down the sacred cedar trees, carrying them back as trophies to Uruk. Gilgamesh's fame now reached the heavens. The goddess Ishtar herself took notice of the victorious king.
Ishtar appeared before him directly, offering marriage and unimaginable divine power if he accepted her.
I will not marry you to become another of your broken lovers.
Istyu, you offer only a dynamic of ruin.
Humiliated and enraged, Ishtar demanded her father. Unleash the bull of heaven to destroy the king. The massive bull of heaven descended upon Uruk, its very breath capable of splitting open the earth.
Gilgamesh and Enkidu stood together once more, facing this new impossible threat side by side.
Together, the two friends defeated the divine bull. But this victory would cost far more than either expected. The gods held council. Killing Humbaba and the bull of heaven together was an insult they could not ignore. The gods decided one of the two friends must die as punishment. They chose Enkidu, not the king.
Enkidu fell ill immediately. For 12 agonizing days, Gilgamesh watched helplessly as his friend weakened.
Enkidu died. And in that moment, Gilgamesh understood something he had never truly understood before: mortality. For the first time in his life, the two-thirds God King was truly, terrifyingly afraid of death.
He abandoned his throne entirely and set out alone into the wilderness, desperate to escape death itself.
He had heard of one man who had survived a great flood and been granted eternal life by the gods. Gilgamesh traveled through mountains of darkness, across a sea of death, searching relentlessly for this man. He finally found Utnapishtim, the only mortal ever granted immortality, living peacefully at the world's edge. Gilgamesh begged him for the secret to eternal life. Utnapishtim told him an ancient story instead, of a great flood. The gods had once decided to flood the entire world. Utnapishtim alone was warned and built a massive boat. He survived the flood that destroyed all of humanity, and the gods rewarded him with eternal life. Utnapishtim was clear. This gift was a one-time act by the gods. It would never, ever happen again.
Utnapishtim gave him one final test. Simply stay awake for 6 days and 7 nights. Gilgamesh failed instantly.
He could not even conquer sleep for a week. How could he possibly ever conquer death itself?
Taking pity on him, Utnapishtim's wife to reveal one final secret.
Before Gilgamesh left,
There existed a plant at the bottom of the sea that could restore youth, if not grant true immortality. Gilgamesh tied stones to his feet, sank to the ocean floor, and retrieved the precious plant himself.
Finally holding hope in his hands, Gilgamesh began the long journey home. But fate had one final cruelty waiting.
while he bathed in a cool pool, a serpent smelled the plant's fragrance and silently stole it away forever. Gilgamesh returned to find the plant gone forever. Everything he had suffered for had vanished in an instant.
He sat down and wept, understanding fully now that immortality was never meant for mortal hands at all.
Something had shifted inside him during this long, painful journey. His obsession with death finally began to fade. He began the long journey back home to Uruk, not as a desperate seeker, but as a changed and humbled king.
When he finally saw the walls of Uruk again, he saw them completely differently than ever before. He had built those massive walls himself, years before. They would stand long after he was gone. He finally understood. True immortality was never about living forever. It was about leaving something behind.
He returned to his throne a wiser, gentler king, ruling his people fairly for the rest of his days.
This story was written on clay tablets over 4,000 years ago, the oldest surviving epic in human history.
It asks the same question every human being has asked since. What do you do, knowing that you will die? Gilgamesh never found eternal life, but 4,000 years later, we are still telling his story. Perhaps that was the immortality he was searching for, all along, without ever realizing it.
This was Gilgamesh, the first story ever told, and perhaps still the truest one humanity has ever written. Pyratheon has now told humanity's very first story, the one that started every story after it. Subscribe to Pyratheon. New myth every Tuesday and Friday. The divine fire keeps burning for you.
Two friends, one impossible quest, and a question that every human being has asked since: how do we matter? Not through eternal life, through what you build, who you love, and what you leave behind. The divine fire keeps burning. Every Tuesday, every Friday, Pyratheon.